Hello, and thank you so much for attending this session. My name is Rachel Weldrick, and I'm a postdoctoral fellow at Simon Fraser University, working on the Aging in the Right Place project. Today, I'm happy to be presenting our paper entitled Aging in the Right Place for Housing Insecure Older People, a Conceptual Framework. And before presenting our work, I would like to first respectfully acknowledge that Simon Fraser University is located on the unceded Coast Salish territory, the traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Emerging research has highlighted the significance of aging in the right place, a concept that recognizes that secure and optimal housing for older people should support an individual's unique identity, lifestyles, and vulnerabilities. This work recognizes that while aging in place may be a preference for many older people, it may not be accessible or appropriate for everyone. Depending on an individual's health, income, housing trajectories, or life course factors, aging in place may actually be harmful. As such, aging in the right place emphasizes that the right place for aging is unique to the individual and their unique needs. Despite the growing body of literature concerning aging in the right place, minimal research to date has considered how older people with lived and living experience of homelessness may be able to age in the right place, and what this might look like across diverse shelter and housing types. Given this gap in knowledge, we aimed to develop a framework of aging in the right place indicators relevant for older people with experiences of homelessness and housing insecurity that could have both scholarly and practical implications. And ultimately, we aimed to produce a conceptual framework that is relevant for this population across a range of shelter and housing types, ranging from temporary shelter to transitional housing with on-site support to completely independent housing and everything in between. In order to achieve this, we first conducted a literature search and literature review of relevant research on aging in place and person environment fit for older people. We used this literature to construct a draft framework of relevant indicators, and using a community-based participatory research approach, we co-developed and refined this framework alongside diverse stakeholders. These stakeholders included service providers working in the areas of housing, aging, and homelessness, academics, and persons with lived expertise of homelessness. Stakeholders represented on both our executive committee and several local committees across the project sites provided expert knowledge to refine this framework through an iterative process. The resulting framework includes 6 key indicators for older people with experiences of homelessness, and I'll present these individually now to showcase the final framework. The first indicator is the built environment of the housing unit and the surrounding neighborhood. Our conceptualization of this includes elements that are both inside and outside of the older person's shelter or housing unit, including the neighborhood context. Features of the built environment that support older people with experiences of homelessness include presence of and access to social, recreational, and communal spaces within a shelter or housing unit, building communication tools, staff and administrative offices, as well as private and secure spaces. Additional elements of shelter and housing design include the presence of universal design and accessible features, such as sidewalks and ramps, appropriate heating and lighting in communal and private spaces, wayfinding and navigational indicators, and home-like decor. These elements of the built environment that contribute to the ability of older people with lived experience of homelessness to age in the right place and access the area within and around their shelter or housing unit and get out into their community. The second indicator is off-site and on-site health and social services and resources. Our conceptualization of this includes the range of on-site and off-site resources needed to provide person-centered care. Physical and mental health resources include services that support functional ability, mobility, activities of daily living, instrumental activities of daily living, mental and cognitive health, safe substance consumption, and quality of life. Other health resources include those which enable older people with experiences of homelessness to be fully supported to the extent needed in successfully managing and accessing healthcare. Social service resources include non-medical services such as food, transportation, financial management, and technology. Considerations for on-site and off-site resources include whether they are sufficiently available, accessible, and affordable, and whether they are coordinated to meet older people where they're at. The third indicator in our conceptual model is social integration. Our conceptualization of social integration that supports older people with experiences of homelessness acknowledges the need for social inclusion and connection in one's shelter and housing unit and broader community. This includes older people feeling a sense of belonging and having the opportunity to participate in meaningful social activity, feel accepted, listened to, and valued, and feel free from discrimination. As well, satisfaction with the number and type of formal and informal relationships in one's social network, including the quality and quantity of social relationships and connections. The fourth indicator is stability and affordability of place. Our conceptualization of this includes determinations of whether the shelter or housing unit and surrounding neighborhood are locations where older people with experiences of homelessness can remain and for how long, if the locations are affordable, and whether an older person's needs are successfully being met in these locations. Our fifth indicator is emotional place attachment. Our conceptualization of emotional place attachment that contribute to aging in the right place for older people with experiences of homelessness include elements of satisfaction with one's home and community and the desire to remain in place versus move, sense of control over one's environment, choice in where to live, and autonomy over personalizing one's space, as well as a sense of safety, security, and privacy. Lastly, we have political and economic context. We conceptualize the political and economic context as shaping older people's ability to age in the right place, both directly via policies and programs of support, and indirectly via the overall political and economic environment that exists at all levels. Together, these 6 indicators of aging in the right place for older people with experiences of homelessness form a comprehensive conceptual framework with a wide range of uses and applications. This framework can be applied in both research and policy, as well as practice. Going forward, this framework can inform research with older people experiencing homelessness to address specific issues related to aging in the right place. In terms of practice, this framework can be used to identify client needs and tailor supports to promote both aging in the right place and secure housing or shelter. It can also be used to frame and guide advocacy for programs and funding needed to support the diverse needs of older people with experiences of homelessness. Altogether, we believe this framework makes a very important contribution to the literature on aging in homelessness, and we're excited to see how it's applied going forward. Thank you so much for attending our session on aging in the right place and for watching. Please feel free to connect with our project if you'd like to learn more about what we're doing, or if you'd like to learn more about the Aging in the Right Place framework. You can contact our project using the link listed on the slide or via our Twitter page as well. Thank you so much.